I would like to introduce myself. Once you get to know a little bit about me, you can connect better with the message that I have for you. Back in the day, American Amway Global was opening business in Ukraine. And I was still in the school, in Ukrainian school, and I decided to come over when they invited me for a meeting. I knew I wasn't going to sell anything, but they showed me this American way through Amway Global, and they also handed me a couple books, Dale Carnegie and Napoleon Hill. Dale Carnegie, I think it was How to Win Friends and Influence People, and Napoleon Hill was Think and Grow Rich. And those two translated in Russian language books become pretty much my first introduction to America and American way. And Amway Global, as I later find out, stands for American Way. So that was interesting. And through those books, it inspired me to learn more about America. And I put it on my wish list that one day I would like to come visit America. And years went by. I was graduating 9 grades in Ukraine, and my grandma called and she asked if I would like to maybe move to Russia and attend school in Russia so that I can finish education there. I asked my dad. He said no problem. So I'm moving to Russia from Ukraine, and 10th and 11th grade, which is final in Russia, I graduated in a city called Tikhvin. And then from there, I attended university in St. Petersburg, Russia, which is about a few hours on the train from the city Tikhvin. And I was interested in the time in computers. I was looking options and how to better ways in programming. I like to play with computers. I like to take them apart. One of those kids. And I really wanted to get into university where I can better my skills that I got in school in that area. And I feel that I got really lucky. I got into University of Aerospace Instrumentation and to exactly the Department of Computer Programming. That university was actually right across from Yusupov Palace, where back in 1916 Grigory Rasputin was murdered. So it's right across from the river Moika. And 4 years went by. I was a good student. I got onto a scholarship, and so I had no choice but to get the scholarship, and so I did. And I saw a poster, student program to America, and it just happened to be a match. America was on my wish list, and I realized it was not a better opportunity for me to jump onto this program, because as a student, this is the easiest way for you to get visa to America. Sometimes you don't even have to go to embassy, and it turned out to be the truth. My year was the last year that nobody had to go to embassy for an interview to get the visa. And it's also interesting that the building, the company Work and Travel, was based off of the university that Vladimir Putin attended back in the day and successfully graduated. And so I got in America in 2003, May, and the job offer I've got was lifeguard. There was a Wet and Wild aqua park next to Sahara casino, so I became a lifeguard with that red tube and stuff. We had a great time during the summer, but the pay was very low, and so right away I realized I needed to get a second job, and I did, and that's how I got into tree service. And my first job was a pro tree. I liked the tree service. I did not afraid hard work, because I was growing up in a small village where, on top of riding my bicycle and putting kilometers on it, I was helping both of my grandparents was veterinaries. The name of the village was Voyevodskaya, and I helped them quite a bit and learned a lot about animals and hard work. And so it was not a problem for me to fit into tree service and work on the same hard level with Spanish guys. About 12 years went by. I'm not going to go through everything that happened in 12 years, I would just say for those 12 years, I stick with the tree service. I did not come back to Russia, so I quit my university, and I was continuously getting better in tree service. I become tree service climber. I then become a tree driver and the climber. Then later on, I was helping Frank at Nevada Tree to run his business. I was doing estimates and managing the crews. And it gets to the point where in 2009, there was nowhere else for me to go. And it was a logical decision to start something on my own, which I did. And I started Vegas Best Tree Service, my own company, back in 2009. At the time when I got to America, my favorite book was Anastasia, Vladimir McGrath. This is the Russian version here. It's a series. This is just one of the books called New Civilization. It became very popular. You have it on the shelves here. I've been reading this book over and over every couple of years, and I would learn something new every time. I really like that in the book there's described a better way to do things in life. I got connected with it so much that I took the logo from the book, put Vegas Best Tree Service instead of reading cities of Russia, and made a logo for our company that way. Also, I learned about God's dream in this book that touched my heart more than anything else. So as I said, 12 years went by. For a while, I lived in Las Vegas, but 2015, I am living in Blue Diamond, which is a much smaller place. It's a smaller village than my grandparents' village, located west of Las Vegas, just a few miles away from Las Vegas. It is so small that it's, I believe, less than 1,000 people population there. But I'm renting the house from one of my clients. A lot of things in life happen to be with interaction with my clients, probably because I spend so much time with my clients. And so I'm renting the house in Blue Diamond with my girlfriend, Natasha, but things are far from being perfect. And I find myself in the middle of the battlefield in my business and at home. And when I was coming to America, I was thinking to myself, often, why would people lose businesses, or why a lot of people run into some situations in life where they end up losing something they work hard for. And I was at the point where, if we scroll back 3 years, so now we're in 2015, and we scroll back 3 years to 2012, I hired somebody in 2012 that we can give him name Biden. He was devastation for my company. And it took me a while to pick up on the character and on the loops that I was put into with someone that came with a goal in mind to take me down, to take my business apart, to bring me down. It gets to the point where 3 years later, in 2015, I realized that I'm going downhill. My business is losing equipment, and I'm losing whatever assets I've had, and it became a spiral down that I was fighting with everything within me, but I saw I was missing something. There was neither not enough knowledge or there was not enough experience. There was something that I was missing, because I saw that if I didn't change something, if I did not learn something fast, if I did not make a radical changes in my business, I already saw where it's going. I would lose it. And at the best, by 2016, I would be bankrupt at the best. So one day, when all the workers left from the business yard, I was left there myself, and I felt very emotional. And I look up and I ask God, with nearly tears coming out of my eyes, I say, God, why things the way they are. And I asked him for help, and I asked him to give me some answers. And not right away, but in the perfect timing, in the kitchen, in my house that I'm renting, on the corner, there was a book published by Summit Lighthouse, Science of the Spoken Word. And to this day, I don't know how it got there, because I find it there. This is actually what's left out of that book, because I find it in the right time. Like I said, it was perfect timing, and it turned out to be a very sophisticated tool for me to become a better warrior in my ring, so that I can win more. The book turned out to be published in both languages, Russian and English. That attracted my attention. And as I read through the book, I realized it is the tool. God didn't just raise his hand and change something in my brain and say, done, go on, son. No, he gave me a tool. And so as I realized it, I started using it. There's Russian and English, see on one side, and English on another side. So I would attract violet flame to my space, to my reality. And I would do it by reading like a next level to the prayer phrases. For example, I am the light of the heart, shining in the darkness of being, and changing all into golden treasury of the mind of Christ. About 15 minutes, 20 minutes of attracting violet flame into my field, into my life, before I step out of my door, made a huge difference. Every time I would go out, I would approach people in a much more natural way, and it would be a lot easier to be myself in balance. And so I would get more victories for that particular day with clients or with friends or with anybody that I come across. And so perception of the events that I would run into would be seen closer to reality, closer to what it really is. And that was a big turnaround. It did not pull me completely out of my business situation, but this tool helped me to become a better warrior and to slow down the down spiral that I was at. So actually, I believe this tool allowed me to sustain the business up until 2016, when we met with John. And so together with him, we could actually turn it around, rescue it under his recommendations and teachings, and use it as a tool for what we was doing. During that time, around 2014, 2014, my girlfriend was in Russia for Olympic Games, and my friend came from California, Timothy West, and we was having a great time. Just you know how it is when there's no woman in the house. So anyway, we taped some videos about what we was doing and what we were thinking at that particular time, and I cut up that video in one documentary, which is not a professional movie at all, but it would just show you, if you're interested, to take a look as far as what our thoughts was at that particular time, and what we really wanted to accomplish and maybe bring into the world. And you're welcome to take a look at that video. There's a couple scenics of Las Vegas. As far as anything else about myself, I'm a workaholic. This is a good thing to be in America with that kind of skill. If you don't have it, you develop it very quickly. I love people. I love nature. I spent myself 8 years on the trees while I was building my business. And through touching God's creation, working with this 6 days per week, I got to understand a few things better about his idea for us and his dream and what he had in mind making this whole thing for us. And so I invite you to take a look at the most important part of this channel that we're getting into. And thanks for watching.